This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
If you commit to something, do it. If you don't want to do it, say no. But if you say yeah and you committed to something, you got to do it. Stick it out. Do it.
And co-host Marnie Winfield.
My rent is paid. I have a roof over my head. I'm married to the most amazing man in the world who cares about me and supports me, keeps me safe, and I don't know. I got it all.
It is the 23rd of July, 2022. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marnie Winfield.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Welcome in. Today I'm serious. I got a serious face on. Talking serious. We're going to review a movie that we just watched. And this is something that I guess I have a question. This is a question for you, Marnie, since you're here and I'm talking to you.
Sure.
Does it bother you to watch movies where people are like at a bar or drinking?
No.
I
think it's just so prevalent in movies that it doesn't bother me.
Just used to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of numb to it.
And so you used to work in a bar.
I did.
You used to be a bartender. Mm-hmm. And, well, first of all, is that a job you'd recommend for someone in early recovery?
Absolutely not.
But see, I know somebody like in DiMaggio's in Coloma. Mm-hmm. I know people there who are in recovery that work there. You know, I know people who work at bars that are in recovery. And maybe one day, sure, you know, but especially early on, like if you're just trying to figure life out and figure this whole, like, oh my God, how do I live life sober thing out? Probably not a good idea.
If people can do it, I guess, then that's fine. That's their prerogative. But for me, chances are if you're a bartender, that you're probably serving to some people that really probably have no business to continue drinking. There's people that you serve that their drinking is problematic for them. And they'll tell you all about it. Be hard for me not to give them my input.
So you're saying for you, it wouldn't be like the temptation risk. It would be like you know, you shouldn't be drinking this. Go home.
Right.
Here's a flyer for rehab.
Yeah. And I'm not saying everybody who goes to the bar is an alcoholic or needs rehab.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that come in that definitely drink more than they should.
Yeah, and I'd say, though, overall, majority of people that probably need help are not drinking at the bar. Mm-hmm. They might stop in for a quick drink just to, hey, everybody, what's up? But their real damage is going to be done at home. That's from my personal experience. That's what I used to do. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't really go to the bar to check in. I didn't really have time for that.
Right.
But, yeah, so anyway, back to the movie review. I just wanted to ask you that.
Sure.
So it is set in a bar. It's called The Oak Room, the movie that we're going to review right now. This is something that, like I said, involves drinking. You know, not a lot of drinking, but the guy sits down, he has a beer, and he's like, oh, that's what I needed. And I'm not going to lie, it brought back memories for me, you know, of that, taking that first drink, which of course now the first drink would, it's not going to end well because there's going to be 1,000 more. But knowing that, you know, I feel confident, you know, in my sobriety today where I can watch a movie like that and it doesn't bother me. But like I said, I'm not going to lie. It does creep in where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that first taste. And that's your brain lying to you about how great that was. And it really wasn't. Mm-hmm. But that's how the brain is made up, and that's what it does. So it tells me like, oh yeah, that's refreshing, and so I'm thinking that as I'm watching it. So, you know, if these kind of movies bother you, then I wouldn't watch them. You know, there might be a day that you can, but again, this movie, after my review, you probably don't want to watch anyway. Mm-hmm. But this guy goes into the bar, and he has a hard time acting. I don't know if it's because he's got some stuff going on, but I'll just leave it there. You know, he has a hard time kind of acting. In my opinion, that actor who I guess there's 2 stars of this movie. There's only like 8 people in the movie, but the 2 who have the most interaction don't have any chemistry whatsoever. Mm-mm. It was like overacting, and the story didn't really make sense, and
well, they didn't really want it to make sense. It was kind of like put it all together kind of thing, kind of like solve the story. I think that's what they were trying to do.
Well, I think they were trying to have you think that the one guy was responsible for the death of the other guy at the other place when he wasn't. Because that guy, as you could see, he was about to come in at the end of the movie.
People listening right now are like, okay,
Can we talk
I'm just not gonna watch it.
What are you talking
Thanks.
about? Like, we sprinkled in some recovery there, but warning you. But what was that on Amazon?
It was on Amazon Prime, and
Okay.
I mean, if you got nothing else to watch, then yeah, give it a go. I'd like to hear what you guys think about the very end of it. That's the only thing that's really leaves you like, wait, what? Like, and I even asked, like, what are they wanting us to wonder? Even that part, you know?
Well, it's either
Because then they make it how the guy like kind of shakes his head and comes to, as the bartender does, and then the guy that was sitting there isn't sitting there anymore. Like, do you imagine the whole thing?
No, he was.
No, he not. The box was there, but he wasn't there.
Yeah, he was. His gray shirt was there. I thought the same thing. Like, oh, he made no.
I think you're wrong. I think we're gonna have to go back.
We can want me to pause this and go right back right now.
We could.
Yes, I was right. The guy was there.
He was right.
So they have a guy coming in to the bar at the end, and who did they try to call slave or Slav or whatever? Was supposed to be on the way within an hour. He'll be here because the dude that came into other dude that owed him money or something. So it could be that guy, or it could be the killer guy who accidentally killed a different bartender and is coming for this bartender.
And maybe they just ended it like that so we would have conversations like this.
Or is the Slav guy? I don't know.
Not a great movie.
No, when they showed the watch, it was supposed to be the same watch that the killer had that was coming for this other bartender that killed the other bartender was coming for this one. I don't know.
COVID movie.
Yeah, I think these people have money, and whoever made the movie put at the end, this is for my son. So maybe the son is alive still. I don't know. I did zero research on this. But maybe the son is like 4 years old and was like, a guy walked to a bar, daddy, and then he kills one, and then he goes to other and he kills that guy. And he's like, that's a great movie. Let's make it. I got money.
Or maybe it was a screenplay from an adult.
I'm surprised there's not more. And maybe there are, but we just think that the quality is so bad that we just think, oh, there's no way that was made by a rich person. But I'm surprised that more like rich people aren't just making movies. Because to buy all the equipment to do it yourself, it could cost a pretty penny. But if you had a pretty penny in the bank, like, I heard people say like $1 million to some people is nothing. Nothing.
It's true.
Like me giving you $1. Here you go. Have fun with that. So like buying all the right equipment and stuff, like that would be so easy for them. It seems like they could make a really kick-ass movie. And I wonder if this is one of those cases where the guy's like,
I don't know. Thumbs down, though.
Ooh. Even though it was for his son?
Doesn't matter. Thumbs down.
Yeah. I give it a 2. No, 1 out of 5. 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. What did we watch the other day that we thought was pretty good?
Do you remember any of it?
Oh, it wasn't that Gerard Butler movie, was it? See Me Later or something, or Last Seen Alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't rent that one.
I thought that was all right.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. You waste your money. If you spent money on that, I'm sorry. I mean, unless you're a big fan of that guy, Gerard Butler, but if you're a big fan of his, then watch 300 again.
It was a way better movie than the one we just reviewed before that. The Oak Room.
Yeah, the Oak Room, though, I don't know. It's simple.
You fell asleep in the addiction movie today.
Yeah, how was that? Did you watch the end of it?
I did.
Yeah, that was called...
I have no idea what it was called, but I watched the whole thing.
Oh, you're one of the good guys or one of the good ones or something like that.
Yeah. I was doing work at the same time,
And
so I listened to it all
It starts out with the guy meets a girl.
on the internet.
Oh, was it on the internet? Mm-hmm. And she's a porn star or something?
No, she works in a boutique in LA.
Oh.
But yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's where your brain goes.
Well, she got this badass house and she's running around half naked.
She works in some fancy boutique in LA.
Okay. Well, they make a lot of money there, apparently, to buy big old homes. So anyway.
It's a movie.
It's about addiction. Hopefully that part was good. And the acting in that was.
I think that they made that couple kiss like 1,000 times. That part was got a little old.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't act
And they
drunk.
were just videotaping themselves the entire time and fell in love over this period of time. She takes him in, and he says he's going to get kicked out of rehab if he stays.
Right, it was like a...
Because he got a pass to leave.
Yeah, literally.
But he's supposed to come back.
Wasn't it more of a sober living home?
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
Some types. I don't know.
But he had to come home, and he's like, no, I only got 3 days left. I'm just going to leave early. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, if I leave, I don't have nowhere to stay. She's like, you can sleep on my couch. And then she's like regretting that decision. She leaves for work, and he's like rifling through her stuff, finds some pills, of course. And then it's like, you trust me, don't you? I ain't take none of them. And she's like, what should I do? I'll just throw them away. And he's like, nah, don't do that. Just put them back in the drawer. They're safe and sound right there. I was like, meh.
Only problem I had with that
Red flag.
movie is he was trying to explain to her. She's like, you don't look like a drug addict. And he's like, what's a drug addict supposed to look like?
That's true.
Yeah. And that part was, totally legit. But they were like drinking together. So, and they didn't even touch on the fact that, like, maybe is this like okay?
Well, he said
to
I mean, obviously he knew he wasn't supposed to drink early in the movie before I fell asleep, because he called his house people and they're like, well, you better come home, blah, blah. What are you doing? You drinking? And he's like, no, I'm not drinking. So obviously if you're living a sober living, you can't be drinking, or if you're part of a program like that. So, but they didn't act drunk.
No.
Like it was like they were drinking water.
No.
Like they're,
Yeah.
like they were, not fantasizing it, but
I imagined a different
embellishing
ending.
it.
Totally different ending.
You die.
Well, he ends up completely falling for her.
And she goes
And
to rehab for drinking.
She falls for him too, but she doesn't want to really admit it. She's like, we're living two completely, places in the world, and you have a daughter and you need to go home, and maybe this, it was fun for what it was, but then he leaves, and then she like misses him, and she wants to like reach out, but she like kind of rejected him. She was just like, no, let's just call it what it was what it was, and it was fun. But he's like, I love you though, and she's like, well, I had a really good time.
Oh, did it go back out?
But then she realizes, and then she gets some email like a week after, and he asked for her address before he actually leaves.
But he was at the house, so he could just looked at the side
Yeah,
of the...
that's the stupid part. But anyway, he they make it a point that he asks for her address before he actually leaves. He's like, because I'm going to send you something, and I think you're really going to like it. And then distracted, there was lights outside. And then she doesn't hear from him, and then she gets some random email that says that he's overdosed, passed away. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's Box, and she opens it up, and it's video of them.
Oh, so it's kind of sad.
So I don't know if he was rejected, and he was an addict, and so it was.
So I think what the movie was trying to point on or hit on is that not all people in recovery are bad people. People still struggle. And that you should be careful when you get into relationships, because even though the person might have the same feelings, there's still going to be some kind of like, ooh, do I really want to mess with this guy, this woman? They got this problem. I don't know. So there is that. And sometimes people, I'm sure this happens every single day, they get rejected because they're in recovery. Early, like I was in early recovery. I doubt if you have 5 years clean, a person's going to be like, well, I don't want to mess with him. He hasn't done any drugs for 5 years, or she hasn't done any drugs. But early on, I can see where that would be a big thing, and rightfully so. So just be careful, I guess, is what that movie was trying to say.
I guess so.
Because
Well, I mean, when you're in early recovery, you're very vulnerable, and you really just need to focus on you and getting better and getting strong and healthy again, mentally and emotionally, physically, all of that.
But it feels good to be wanted. It feels good to be sober at first too. You know, it's just like, oh my gosh, I feel great. Like somebody wants me. Oh my God, I'm actually telling the truth for once.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as we used drugs and alcohol to fill that void. And when we don't use drugs and alcohol, we fill it with other things like emotional feelings. Some people turn into turn to sex. Some people want to be cuddled and wanted in a relationship. You know, it's really a time for you to focus on yourself.
Yeah, and I think
get solid within yourself before you get involved with another person.
I think that's where, a lot of people look at us and they're like, whoa, you guys, what are you talking about? You guys fell in love, you did this and that. It was not our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th rodeo. Mm-hmm. We got to a point where we knew what we wanted. Mm-hmm. And I know for myself anyway, I got to a point where I was done settling. I wasn't going to be with someone just because someone wanted to hook up or someone wanted to be with me. I wanted to make sure that the person I was with was the person that would love me like I wanted to be loved. And that I could do the same. And so I was watching them red flags. And when they popped up, I wasn't just catching them and throwing them aside. Forget that. That's just making excuses, justifying it. I was like, nope. That doesn't meet my standards. Gots to move on. Mm-hmm. And you have to have that kind of selfishness and don't worry, I'm going to be alone the rest of my life. Well, no, you won't unless you keep thinking that way, then you will. But there's somebody out there for you. It's just not at the right time. If you're like, I've been looking forever, well, stop looking. And that person will walk into your life. And I'm sure you've heard that many times. I know I have.
Yeah. You just want to punch those people in the face when they say that. You're like don't say that anymore. They'll come. The right person will come when you least expect it.
That's those people you want to punch in the face.
And you're just like, ugh, okay, whatever.
No, but it's true.
It is true.
When you're trying to force stuff, that's not what you need to do. Yeah, but I'm lonely. I need some booty. Well, do you? Mm-hmm. Pros and cons, make a list.
And date. And some people like that. It's not like trying to get a job where you fill out as many applications as possible. Because that's not the way to find the right one.
No.
If you just keep dating a bunch of women, then eventually one of them's going to be the right one. That is not the way to do it either. Mm-hmm. Or men, obviously.
Yeah, and you can actually go on a date, and I would actually advise this. Go on a date and already have it set in your mind that you're not going to let her get to second base. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little kiss on the cheek, whatever, that's fine. But keep it just friends.
Yeah.
Maybe you just say no kiss. Save it for the second date, if there is one. And you'll be surprised how much pressure that takes off.
Well, you want to see if you enjoy the person's company. That's what you should be really testing out. Do I get along with this person? Okay, is this person good looking? Whatever. All those things, that's all superficial stuff. Mm-hmm. It's do you guys mesh as a couple?
Yeah, because having a relationship with somebody is more than just a physical, obviously, thing. And yeah, the physical part is nice, but, there's more to it than that. So, yeah, just, hold yourself to some kind of higher standards. And maybe that might be new for someone. They're like, I always have sex on the first date. Okay, well, here's a good chance to try to reverse that.
Don't do that.
Go into it with a different mindset, and you'll take a lot of pressure off. I'm telling you. Yep. Just no, we're going to dinner, and then maybe to a movie, whatever, or maybe we're going to play cards. We went to a meeting.
Yeah.
We went to a meeting, went to dinner. It was fun, and personally, I got to a point where I couldn't see myself dating someone who wasn't in recovery. And not that I was going to AA meetings. I did not meet you at an AA meeting. But I wouldn't say go looking there, but you'll never know. And maybe you will find somebody there. Who knows? Myself personally, I couldn't look at somebody and say, you can't have that wine in the house or you can't have that bottle in the cupboard. It's not fair. Mm-hmm. But I know for a fact that if there was a bottle in the cupboard, I would drink it one day.
Right.
I would.
Yeah.
100%. And that's not worth it to me. If you can meet someone who just doesn't drink, okay. But they don't classify themselves as in recovery. Maybe they go out to dinner, like, because my mom, like, she'll have a glass of wine or something or some champagne at New Year's, but she doesn't really drink. So if somebody like that came into your life, is it that big a deal? I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody has different standards. If smelling alcohol in someone's breath is going to affect you in some kind of way, classify that as a red flag, but I wouldn't tell the person, you can't drink that around me. When you drink, it makes me want to drink. No, you want to drink all the time. Like that's always there, but don't like throw it in the other person's face because it's not the other person's problem.
Right.
Don't get it twisted and try to like make it like some kind of codependent thing of this person has to do this in order for me to stay sober. They don't have to do shit. You're the one who has to not drink or not use drugs. It's on you. Accept responsibility and move forward with it. So that's just my 2
I wonder
cents.
if is there like dating websites for people that maybe don't even identify as being in recovery, but I know there's probably filters on where you can look for people that answer maybe certain questions.
I wouldn't go to Plenty of Fish.
There's farmers.
Farmersonly.com, blackpeopledate.com. Is there white people mingle or something? I doubt it.
Christians mingle.
Christians mingle, yeah. Little people.
There's got to be, it seems like.
Sober dating. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Maybe.
Soberdating.com.
I'm sure somebody who's listening to this knows the answer to that. Just curious.
The punch in the steering wheel. Like, you idiots. It's called.
They're saying it out loud as they're listening to this.
Yeah, shaking their head. They were falling asleep listening. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, oh, no, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, now they're pulling up their
Another
phone.
stupid movie review podcast.
Oh, damn it. I hate those. Hate it when they're just talking about movies. Yeah, we bust into some recovery somehow, usually. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just want to warn people because you can waste a lot of time watching movies. I used to waste all my time watching just dumbass shows. And now it seems like whenever I watch something, it's a dumbass movie. But I know you enjoy movies, and I do too for the most part. And if I was always in the office doing stuff, I think that...
Did you like that John Travolta movie?
You wouldn't like it? No.
Was it bad?
I didn't watch much of it.
Yeah,
I didn't get too far into it. Trading Paint is what that was called. It was on Netflix. But it's from like 2018 or something. It's a race car driver.
The country accent.
Yep. Down in Alabama, racing the tracks. Dirt track racing.
Yeah, I fell right to sleep on that one.
Yeah, you did. I didn't watch much more of it. I think I turned on Ancient Aliens, which is way better.
You love that stuff.
That's good stuff, man. It'll have you thinking,
You ever have like whatever's on TV creep into your dreams? Like if I'm half asleep, half awake, I think that I start picking up on stuff that's on the television.
I had a dream. I don't know. I had a dream that we had to take my mom to the mental hospital.
Really?
It was so real. And I remember I was like, all right, well, because we had to like brace my stepfather for it because we didn't think he was going to be on board. And I was going to be like, I'll talk to Mike about it. I'll talk to stepdad about it. I'll let him know this is why we know this is best for mom. And
oh my gosh.
And she kept saying, but I want to kill you, son. And I'm like, see, that's why you got to go, because she was like, but I love you, but I really want you to die. And I was like, well, we're going to get you some help.
Oh my gosh.
And
Sandy, we are not going to take you to the mental hospital.
Well, maybe. But no, in the dream, it was so real because we have like a little getaway planned, and we're going to meet up with family and stuff. And that was in the dream too. And I was like, and I said that to her. I was like, well, how can you be so excited about us joining the family for this, and at the same time you want to kill me? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, okay, we'll get you booked in. Yeah, that was an interesting dream though.
That's funny.
Yeah. And a lot of times when my mom would tell me it was right, and I hated that. Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
I hated it, especially when she would send me videos of stuff to watch. Hey, watch this guy. He talks about recovery. He talks about this and that. And I don't want to hear any of that.
Yeah.
That's that guy. Even though I had been to rehab, I think once or something at that point. But for family members, they don't know what to do. And my mom, she kind of dove into like, let me do some research. Let me watch some videos. And, so she started kind of learning about it as well. And so she was excited to share that stuff with me, but I just wasn't in the right spot to hear any of it.
Yeah.
That's why like this podcast, even like, we don't do it for someone who's really an active addiction, because they're not going to listen. They don't care.
Right.
This is the last thing they want to hear.
Yeah.
It's podcast is for people in early recovery, for people in long-term recovery, and for family and friends of people who are in recovery or in active addiction. That's who we do it for, but the active user, like, no interest. They don't care.
No.
And maybe one day they will, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my mom's way of kind of getting there. But yeah, I used to drive me nuts. And she was right about a lot of it, and I just didn't want to hear any of it.
Well, why they do like the watch this movie or read this book or read this article or you need to talk to this person, it's because they feel like whatever they've tried so far hasn't worked. That's what my mom told me. She's like, I just was reaching. Just maybe something would get you to pay attention. And then I would just fire back. Why are you talking to all your friends about me? Why are you telling everybody about my business? What?
Turn around on them.
Oh, God, yeah. I was not a sweet, sweet girl.
Mm-mm.
I was just placing blame. And then I stopped placing blame, but I was just like, let me just be miserable. Like, why did you have to get everybody involved in my misery? That's sad of a place.
You think it was because you were feeling judged?
Partially. I think that they were trying to fix me and I wasn't ready to be fixed. Because I had tried before or thought I had tried and it didn't work.
So you still thought that you could use one day?
No, I was either currently using or I was a dry drunk kind of thing. When I was sober and it was like she would still send me stuff or want me to do things. And I was like, is it me not being drunk right now enough for you? Like, why do you keep having to push these things on me? I'm not drinking right now. But I wasn't happy. And I still wasn't me. I still had that like cloud over my head.
What about the time where she told you that you couldn't stay there anymore? How did you feel about that?
I was angry. Because I was like, oh, you're throwing me to the wolves is what I pretty much was telling her she was doing.
Like you had finished drug court at that point, right?
No. I had just gotten out of jail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's when she sent me to my first sober living. She's just like, you can't be here. This is not healthy for you. I'm like, oh, being around a bunch of people that I don't even know is going to be. I made up that's when people fire stuff at me. I'm just like, go ahead. I hear where you're coming from. I get it. I felt the same way because I did. I was like, how does that make sense? I'm going to be around people I don't know. It's a hard time for me right now anyway. I got to do all this legal stuff. Basically, I was just all this nudge from the judge thing. So after about probably 4 or 5 months, I was starting to like, things were making sense. What was being talked about and the work that I was doing. Begrudgingly, not going to lie. It was because I had to. But some of it was sinking in. And like I say all the time, I can't say that was like, that it was any kind of pivotal moment in my recovery because I ended up obviously going back out at 2 years. It was like a ticking time bomb, but I did feel some serenity at some point and I learned a lot. And I think part of that foundation, as kind of screwy as it was, played a part every time I, went back and got clean. It's a process. That's why when this comes full circle all the time with us talking about people, like relapse is a thing. We get it. Like, I don't judge people that relapse. It shouldn't have to be a shameful thing. You're your worst critic. You feel worse about it more than anybody else. So just pick yourself back up and try again and really try. Don't just try to say you're trying. That's when the miracle will happen.
And some people will relapse and they'll let it, and this was my case most of the time, let it get so bad that there's no way to come back from it almost, you know. At least that's the feeling you have at the time. There are other people who will go out, they'll use, and immediately right away they'll call somebody.
Yeah.
And let them know.
Yep.
That's probably the best way to do it. You know, but it's hard sometimes, you know. Drinking for me was just, once I started, there was no stopping until I was already too far gone, you know, like the guilt, I guess, and shame had just eaten me up so much that it was just like, well, just keep drinking. It'll go away somehow. Maybe you'll die.
Well,
You know, like-
yeah. And my thing was, I think that especially if I had a kind of substantial amount of clean time, which I don't even know what that means for some people. Everybody's different. But to like where I was kind of wholeheartedly celebrating milestones and then relapsed, it was like I had felt like I had disappointed myself and disappointed other people. And so it was like there was no turning back. Like I had already, you know, I'd fallen off the horse, and so don't even try, which is a terrible mentality and totally not the right way to go, because there are so many people that will wrap their arms around you if that happens. I guarantee they won't even know you. They don't even know your name. You could walk into a meeting and they would wrap their arms around you and be like, welcome back. You know, what can we do for you? Let's talk. Therapist, you know, all those things. Like, we have resources. We just don't use them in those moments. And some people do. I'm just saying from my experience. And when that's how my brain worked. So that's the part where I'm saying I get it. Think about that. If that ever happens to you, get back up and dust yourself off and keep going. Keep going for sobriety.
I was talking to somebody the other day. Everything starts with a desire, you know, and I just, you know, I'll go to prison. I was like, okay, well, maybe that desire not to go to prison should be turned into your desire not to want to drink, you know. But for that person, though, it was like, oh, people hate me, blah, blah, blah. And you hate yourself, you know, like, let's start there. The life that you can have, and that is out there for everybody. It's out there for everybody. It can be obtained. And that was what I was trying to tell this person. It's just like, look, it's out there. The life that is good when you hit it, it's like winning the lottery. It's like riding a bike. You know, you fall a few times, but man, when you start your stride and you're just like, I can ride a bike now. I mean, it's just a glorious, glorious feeling. And I said, once you really hit that, you will not want to ever drink again. Trust me. And she's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, no, trust me. Like, read the promises. You know, read the promises. Those are the truths. But hopefully that person did end up going to seek help. And, you know, sometimes it is a nudge from the judge. I had to get involved in the legal system, and it takes what it takes. But I had to have those real consequences, you know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it happens, but people say, that person I was just talking to said, well, look at you. Look what all the stuff that you do. Blah, blah. That could be you too.
Yeah.
You know, well, look at Marty and the stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There's the people that go through faking it, white knuckling it, dry drunks, whatever you want to call them. And there's those people that let go and accept it and move forward with their life. And I think that is what you and I have done. And trust me, it is like hitting the lottery. You know, like your whole life changes for the better. Like, why would you, like, no, why would I drink today? There's nothing that would make me drink today. It's not going to help my back. It's not going to help me fall asleep. It's not going to help my pancreas. That's for sure. And there's zero advantages to me drinking today. Well, because it's going to make me relax. You know, it makes me relax petting my kitty cat, talking with my wife, flying drones, which I have yet to do. That's
Are
probably
you going to take it to Mackinac Island?
Oh, I should. They probably got some no-fly zone.
You think so?
Yeah. But I can fly it from the mainland to the island. I don't know if it'll go that far. I don't know. I should practice, though, before I take my first flight over a lake.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. How can they have a ban on drones?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, could you imagine, what are they, like 1,000 people on Mackinac Island, something like that? Maybe
I don't know.
more,
There's
probably
lots of
more.
areas that are just like woods and stuff, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to fly in woods because then it hits trees.
Well,
So we can hide in there and set it off. or fly it up or whatever you want to call it. Take off. I got to get my drone lingo down. But could you imagine like 1,000 people just flying drones like everywhere? I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. I'm surprised rich people don't make more movies and that more people don't fly drones everywhere. I want to put that on a t-shirt.
Okay, just make one for you. Only.
Life's mysteries. Nah, but well, I appreciate the fact that you spent time with us listening to this podcast. I really do. And hopefully there's something in here you got, maybe a laugh, maybe, stay away from the movie, The Oak Room.
That's about it.
Yep.
No, we are grateful you guys listen. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Have a good night.